It's been 1 year since the only deal between Israel and Hamas led to the release of over 100 captives taken on October 7th. Around 100 hostages are still believed to be held inside Gaza to this day. Aviva Siegel was released as part of that original deal last November, but her husband Keith, an American-Israeli citizen, remains in captivity. And she's joining us now from Israel. Aviva Siegel, welcome to the program. And I just want to know what you're thinking today regarding the fact that you and about 100 others were released exactly a year ago. What do you think about that deal that enabled that?
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me. I am lucky to be sitting here and that everybody can see me alive because I nearly died in Gaza. The only way to get the hostages out is to bring them back with a deal, and we know that. After so many months and so many days have passed, while Keith, my husband, that's American citizen, is underneath the ground, 40 meters underneath the ground, and just praying that somebody will come and take him out and bring him home. I cannot wait for that to happen.
Aviva, do you know that he's under the ground? Have you had word from others? Were you kept underground? What was your situation and what do you think your husband is going through?
Yes, I was twice underneath the ground, and I want to tell everybody that it's worse than hell. It's the worst thing that anybody can go through in this world. We were just thrown underneath the ground, 40 meters, and we were left there alone. I remember there were two terrorists that were with us, and they were talking, and then suddenly it was silence. And I looked at Keith and I said, Keith, do you think they left us here alone underneath the ground? It was dark, we could hardly see anything, and we did not have any oxygen to breathe. We got to a state that I looked at Keith and saw that he could hardly breathe. And he said that he feels that he can't breathe. And I want to tell you that I told Keith, just lie down and try and breathe. And that's what we did. We just lay down with not able to even talk, to pick ourselves up, even to sit. We had to lie down and try and breathe while I was thinking in my head, who's going to die first, Keith or I? And I just prayed that I would die first because it was very difficult for me to see Keith. I could not even watch him and watch his chest going up and down and up and down. Well, I felt the same. I just wanted to die.
Have you had any word about him from any of the other hostages or anybody?
No, not at all. The only thing that we do know is that Keith, the Hamas terrorists released a video of Keith in April, and that's more than a half a year ago. Keith looks pale, he looks old, he looks tired, he's begging and he's crying to get out of there. He's 65 years old. He was taken from his house with Hamas terrorists in his pajamas, and he's still there underneath the ground. We've been told that the hostages are underneath the ground, just where I was, and I nearly died.
Can I ask you, Aviva, since your release, you've been part of a hostage family advocate group. You want them back. And this week, hostage families gathered to mark the anniversary of that one deal that enabled your release and that of others. The theme of the gathering was a year is too long for a deal. So why do you think there hasn't been another deal and there haven't been hostages released in that fashion?
Well, I don't know why it's taking so long. I just do know that Keith is not sitting in front of me, and I'm waiting for him to come back. And I just want him to come back alive. I want him to come back strong. And I am just so scared of what kind of Keith we're going to get back, how thin he's going to be, what is he going to look like, if he's going to be so ill that we'll just have to take care of him for the rest of his life, because it's dangerous there. The Hamas terrorists did not treat us like people, They did everything they wanted to make us feel that we're not even human beings. We were taken all human rights away. We weren't allowed to talk. We weren't allowed to hug. We weren't allowed to feel. We weren't allowed to stand or move our bodies. And you know, Keith, while he was taken, he was pushed by the Hamas terrorists, and they broke his ribs and they shot him on his hand. And he used to beg them to lie down sometimes during the day just to relax his pain. And they said no. They used to eat in front of us while they starved us. And they used to drink water while they did not bring us any water to drink. I'm a witness of one of the girls that was touched. And I just remember how fragile she was after it happened, but she had to continue to the Hamas terrorists that did touch her. I'm a witness to one of the girls that was beaten up into pieces, and she was hit in such a brutal way, and she did not even scream because she was scared to. She was scared that they would kill her. And I remember when she came back after they beat her, she was shaking and crying, and I could not even give her a hug. I was not allowed to. And I'll never forget them treating Keith in such a brutal way. And so many times I wanted to just cry while I couldn't. But I used to look at Keith in his eyes and tell him that I love him and that I care about him, because that's the only thing that they let me do, the Hamas terrorists. Okay. They took control of us in any way that you can think of. I'll never forget myself taking my foot out of a blanket because I was too hot to cool myself down. And the Hamas terrorists came and threatened me that I'm not allowed to take my foot out. And that's the amount of control that the Hamas terrorists had on us. And one of the times they took us and they put black material and covered my eyes. And I had to walk myself down 3 stairs of stairs and trying to figure out where to put my next foot. I'm 63 years old. Keith is 65 years old. He was taken by Hamas, and Hamas is responsible of everything that's going there, and Hamas is responsible of not bringing and letting Keith and all the hostages come home.
Aviva,
I'm worried.
We can,
yes.
we hear you loud and clear, and obviously, like you, we really hope that Keith and the others come back. And we just hope that a ceasefire in Lebanon may mean a ceasefire in Gaza at some point. But we really, really appreciate you being with us on this anniversary of your release. I can just imagine the horror and the pain that you're going through. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. I just want to say that Keith and I are peacemakers, and we want good for the whole world. So please help us make this world a better world for everybody.
And that's a really strong message to end our conversation on. Thank you for that.